know that the citizens of Seattle have never met a tax that they didn't like. And one of the areas where they've been more than willing to increase their own taxes in recent years is for parks, is to say, hey, we live in a beautiful city, has a lot of cool parks and playgrounds. And yes, we want to make sure that those parks can be kept up, that they can be beautiful places for kids and the public to be able to enjoy. So they've raised taxes, millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars to take care of public parks in Seattle. Yet they are still falling into disrepair, and the Parks Department is charging, in one instance, a Little League 6 figures to play baseball in those parks. This segment is brought to you in partnership with our friends at Future 42. Turn your frustration into action at future42.org. Make sure you sign up for their newsletter to be alerted to opportunities to do just that. So I saw this from my friend Jason Rance. He sent it to me this morning. I thought, oh my gosh, I had a different plan for this segment today. I was like, we got to do this because this is government at its worst. This is government at its worst, and it's shocking to me that so few voters will pick up on it. And you can apply this to a bunch of different areas. Education, homelessness, in this case, parks. It's like the more money they spend, the more of your money they get, the worse the situation becomes. So they're spending more money than ever upkeeping public parks. Yet what happens? Well, the parks still become homeless and drug dens. They fall into disrepair. And it's like, where the hell is all that money going? And then, even though you're paying millions of dollars in taxes toward that issue, you still have to turn around and pay if you want to use the park. So this is the headline. Seattle charges Little League $120,000 for a permit to use fields that are in absolute complete disrepair. Let's just start with the figure. What do you mean? They're charging the Seattle Little League organization $120,000 to use ball fields. I mean, maybe a little tiny fee is fine to make sure you don't go in there and ruin the place. But is that not what the taxes pay for? What the hell are the taxes paying for if you're going to charge people who want to use the ball fields $120,000 for permits? So that's one issue. But then you're charging them 6 figures and the ball fields look like shit. So what are they paying for exactly? According to Jason Rance, Northeast Seattle Little League. So, by the way, it's not even the citywide Little League. No, this is just for Northeast Seattle. $120,000. Northeast Seattle Little League Vice President Ted Foster detailed years of ignored maintenance requests, rapidly rising costs, and conditions so poor a child was nearly injured to the Jason Rance show in an interview he did. Seattle Parks, meanwhile, says the league should simply reach out, except the league has reached out. Foster explained that the league is a complete volunteer organization that just had to raise all family fees because city-imposed permit costs, quote, have doubled year after year the last 2 years. He said the league faces a, quote, 50% increase and then another 50% increase. And now permits alone make up more than 60% of their league's entire budget. Despite a massive 6-figure financial commitment, he said the league gets almost nothing in return. He said, quote, we have no support. We have no field maintenance. We have really nobody within the city listening to our request to repair fences, fields, mow fields, fix water drainage issues. So first of all, that cost is, I can't even get my mind around that. Just for one Northeast Seattle Little League, $120,000 for a season. And then the city doesn't even respond to their requests. Hey, field, we got an issue with this field maintenance, water drainage issue, water's piling up everywhere. You get $120,000. It's increased exponentially over the last 2 years. They can barely get anyone at the city to answer their phone call. And that's, again, on top of the fact that we're already paying, in Seattle, astronomical taxes to upkeep those very parks. This is mind-boggling. It says the city's failures have also created real safety threats for young athletes. Foster recounted how his own son nearly suffered a serious injury due to a hole dug up by a dog that was in left field, something the league doesn't have the staff or time to scour for. He said a slight misstep could mean a broken leg or knee ligament damage, something that could so easily be corrected if there was just a little bit of help from the city. And frankly, there should be a lot of bit of help from the city, given how much tax money they're getting, given how much money now I had no clue that they were charging people for permits to use public playfields. Those playfields should be pristine. And of course, the safety issues go even further than, a hole that a dog dug up. We've done stories on parks that there's druggies. The drug dealers are going down, shootings. They're doing needles all over the place. It feels like there's a story about that every week. Goes on to say, instead, he says the league is being forced to pay more than $120,000 this year for, quote, fields that are in absolute complete disrepair. Parents routinely show up after work, quote, with a wheelbarrow and a shovel and quick dry to get fields in playable condition for their kids. Who the hell are those parents voting for is what I want to know. Because I don't feel bad for you if you're electing the people who continue to charge you more taxes and then you have to pay into a $120,000 permit fee. And then you have to go out there with your own wheelbarrow and try to make sure the place is in good condition for your child to play there. When is enough enough? Seattle Parks in a statement said, "We are sorry to hear about the challenges this league has been experiencing and encourage them to reach out to talk to our staff directly." But of course, Foster said they do that all the time and they don't get responses. And if they do get responses, they're promised something that is never delivered. Says still the department defended its work, saying field maintenance of grass fields can be challenging in a rainy city like Seattle, pointing to heavy infield maintenance done in September. The Parks Department also noted that fee increases brought Seattle's fees more in line with market rates, and that revenue collected supports recreation programs, park maintenance, and staffing. Where do the taxes go to? Where do the taxes go to? For parks that you specifically asked for an increase in the levy, where do the taxes go to? I have enough of a problem with that if there weren't any fees to use the spaces. I have enough of a problem with the fact that people are giving you an astronomical amount of their hard-earned money in taxes, specifically to maintain the parks, and they look horrible. Now I find out that in addition to the tax revenue, you're also charging people who use the park so you can use that money for maintenance, and they're still not being maintained? Government. This is government. The government bureaucracy, an absolute failure. Wow, I had no idea. Maybe I'm dumb because I don't have kids or something, but I had no idea that you had to pay a fee that big for a permit to use a public park. A little one, fine. Like, hey, we're having a tournament out there. Maybe you need some extra staff or something like that. Fine. $120,000 on top of all the taxes. Insane. I asked you guys in our daily subscriber show poll on Patreon, Locals, and X, should kids' sports teams pay a fee to play at public parks? Should they pay a fee at all? My answer is no. That's what taxes are for. Nicole, you're on softball teams. You're not a child, but...
Yeah, normally I think, we do pay a fee, but a lot of times that's for the umps, right? So I think we do pay a field fee as well, but I think that's to reserve it. So it makes sense to say, hey, fine. Here's a reservation fee because you want to make sure that you have the field when you schedule a game. But for sure, that is over the top fee.
Oh my gosh, that's insane. I don't care how many games you're having.
And it has made sports out of reach for a lot of families because I know I had a cousin that just had a kid play. They couldn't get enough kids to play football because it was $500 for 11-year-olds to play football. Right. So they decreased it to $45 to get enough kids to play a game.
Well, and as he said there, they have to pass that cost along to families for their kids to participate. So they want to talk about, equal opportunities and stuff.
Right.
Who do you think that hurts? The poor kids.
Yes.
The poor families. God, these people drive me absolutely bonkers.
They're just stupid.
How is this acceptable?
It's stupid.
Oh my gosh, crazy. So on Patreon, Locals, and X, 70% of you are saying no. Kids sports teams shouldn't pay a fee. And I do think there should be a difference. Is it a kids sports?
Then, or like a rec league.
Adults, fine. Charge them a fee to come in. But kids, come on. Isn't this what we want? Kids playing sports, not out gangbanging on the streets or, stuck in their phones. E says public park open to all the public. National and state parks used to be free too, and are still in most states unless they start giving the taxpayers a refund, then no. Samantha says, yes, they should generate revenue to help with programs and field upkeep and offset the cost to the taxpayers, but that's the issue. It's clearly not offset. They're increasing cost to taxpayers and they're charging more for fees. So it's clearly not at all offsetting. Yeah, if you were going to charge people and then taxes were lower, I totally agree. But that's not what's happening here. Sunny days, we already pay for parks. Maybe charge a deposit at the beginning of the season to cover possible damages, but refund it to the leagues 100%. That seems reasonable to me. Says, let's keep kids' activities accessible, not use them as profiteering for cities that can't maintain their budgets. 100%. Bob said, if the parks are funded by the taxpayers, then no. If private parks, then yes. Yeah, totally different situation. Let's see here. Randall, at multiple use community fields, if a league or organization wants exclusive use on weekends or evenings, then they must pay a fee. Otherwise, they should be like everyone else and use the fields on a first come, first served basis. I understand that too, like Nicole said. Maybe a fee to reserve, because then you're taking that field out of rotation for the public to be able to use it. So a little bit of a fee might be appropriate. But I think we all agree $120,000 for a Little League organization is absolutely ridiculous, especially if those fields aren't being maintained. Matthew says, I voted yes. However, there should be maintenance and improvements supported by that fee. The Parks Department should be able to show what the money is being used for. But of course, they're not able to show that because the money is going to what? Government bureaucracy. That's where a big chunk of the money always goes. We would be much better keeping that tax money in the hands of the community and helping to fund the little leagues to be able to hire someone, like let the public do it. Hire someone to maintain the parks in your community with that money instead of giving it to the government. And I promise you those parks would be pristine. That segment is brought to you in partnership with our friends at Future 42. Turn your frustration into action at future42.org. Make sure you sign up for their newsletter to be alerted to opportunities to do just that.